Good day, students. Today we will be having our first lecture of English, where I'll be starting with the book Footprints Without Feet. In that you have your very first chapter, A Triumph of Surgery. The author of this book is James Alfred White. You may be wondering that we have a different name in our textbook and ma'am is telling us a very different name. The reason being, the actual or the original name of the author is James Alfred White, W-I-G-H-T, White. But his pen name, many of the authors or poets, when they are writing, they do not want to disclose their original name. They want to write and they want to publish their write-up, but they don't want to expose themselves. So they use a pen name. That way, James Alfred White, the author, he used the pen name of James Herriot. That is why in your book, you have his pen name, that is James Herriot mentioned. So according to your book, A Triumph of Surgery is a lesson written by James Herriot. He was a person of British origin and by profession he was a veterinary doctor. A veterinary doctor or a veterinarian is a person who treats the animals and birds, who have a compassionate and caring feeling towards animals. And as I have always told you that every lesson that is there in your textbook, it is not just to teach you some new words and sentences. Every subject has its own aim, its own goal. So science will have its own aim, your social science will have its own, mathematics will have its own goal. The lessons which are there in your literature books, they always come with a moral, with a theme, with some knowledge which you gain and which you can imbibe in your personal life. In the olden days, people used to live in the farmyard where they would have horses, bullocks, cows, goats, hens, ducks, dogs, and they were well versed about how to care for animals. But the scenario is very different in the urban society today. People are not living in a farm. They do not know how to take care of animals. But somewhere deep down their heart, human being has a nature to live with animals. Because we are a part of the same nature. So people, those who love animals, go and get a pet. We cannot keep horses and bullocks at home. The easiest pets which can be kept are dogs and cats. So many people will go get a dog or a cat and bring it home. They are not aware, they have not learnt from their ancestors how to care for a pet. They bought it and they love and love and love their pet so much that their love becomes a cause of death of their pet. Because they overfeed. That is a major problem. And as the pet goes plump, it looks very cute. So people think, oh, my pet is so cute. And many people even think, if my pet is plump, that shows how much I care for my pet. I don't neglect my pet. My dear children, that is not the story. Obesity is harmful for everyone. May it be human or may it be your pets. Obesity can never be good for anyone. It will always be fatal. It will always be the cause of death. Obesity is nothing more than a cause of death of any living being, whether it is a pet or a human. So in this story also, the vet is James Herriot, who is writing the story in the autobiographical form, that is the first person form, where he narrates as an experience in his own life. So there is Mrs. Pomfrey, a very rich lady who has got a nice little pet by the name of Tricky. Tricky is a very nice little dog, but as I told you, Mrs. Pomfrey is very rich. So what Mrs. Pomfrey loves to do is overfeed her dog. She, to the heights, even we human beings do not have specified plate for our breakfast and lunch and our high tea and our dinner. But Tricky had a different vessel for his each meal. So whenever he was having a meal, it was a fixed vessel, fixed dresses. Tricky had so many dresses, even a human doesn't have so many dresses. So Mrs. Pomfrey had kept Tricky lavishly, which resulted to the worst in the life of Tricky. That is, Tricky became obese, became very fat, and whenever Mrs. Pomfrey used to take Tricky for walks, on the way they would meet. Who would meet? Mrs. Pomfrey and James Herriot. So James Herriot was observing and often would tell Mrs. Pomfrey, "What are you doing with your pet? It is growing obese. Cut on the meals. Make him do exercise." And Mrs. Herriot would say, "Yes, doctor, yes, vet, I will do it. Surely I will follow it." But then again, whenever Tricky would crave for food, she would give. And Tricky was becoming those days very lethargic. Lethargic means very lazy. The cause of Tricky's lethargy was obesity, and Mrs. Pomfrey was misunderstanding it to be weakness. She thought, "Oh, my Tricky has become weak. I should feed him more. And the more she was feeding him, the more obese he was becoming and more lethargic. Finally, a time came when Tricky would neither eat nor move, and that time Mrs. Pomfrey was shaken to the core because she genuinely loved Tricky. She called up the vet in all tension, "Please save Tricky." So then the vet knew that if I keep Tricky home and I treat Tricky, no way Tricky is going to get well, because this lady is very kind, not at all logical, and she is going to overfeed and the dog is going to die. So he took a nice idea. He said, "You have to leave your dog with me for a fortnight. I am coming to pick your dog." Mrs. Pomfrey was very upset. "Oh God, how can my Tricky live without me?" But after all, she loved Tricky and she didn't want that Tricky she wanted that Tricky should live. She didn't want Tricky to die. So she accepted. She said, "Okay, please take whatever you wish." So the vet comes. When he takes away Tricky, Mrs. Pomfrey gives him food, dress, bowl, pillows, blankets. This belongs to Tricky. Tricky can't stay without this one. And the vet's vehicle was full. Finally, the vet drove away. So when the vet was driving away, she was throwing things through the window. That much she loved Tricky. But my dear children, love cannot always do everything. Proper care should also be done, which her love was not letting her do. So the doctor took Tricky, stayed there. Initially, Tricky was, and you know what these vets and trainers do? They will never give special food separately to each one. They will give a huge bowl. All of you come, fight for your food and have it, which is actually good for your pets. So they do it that way, and same was done by the vet. Initially, first few days, Tricky would not get up and go because he was habituated. The food is served to him where he is. So he would not go, so he would not get any food. The other dogs would come and try to play. When Tricky would not play, they would leave Tricky and go. So Tricky started feeling lonely, hungry. Finally, after 3 days, Tricky got up and went at food time and tried to play with the others. So already he had starved for 3 days. So obviously he had lost some weight. In this way, slowly and slowly, as days passed by, Tricky became more and more healthier. Healthier does not mean he put on weight. He lost weight to become healthier. And he became more smarter. He started playing, running, enjoying time with the other dogs. So when Mrs. Pomfrey came to know this on the phone call, she thought, oh my God, my Tricky has become weak. And she started sending eggs, brandy, wine and every sort of thing, and started giving instruction to the doctor, feed this to Tricky, feed this to Tricky. Now the doctor realized, if I don't accept these things, then Mrs. Pomfrey is going to take away Tricky. And the life of Tricky will again become a hell. So what he decided, I will take these things but I will not give Tricky. So he started enjoying having those eggs himself with his team. Now this does not mean that the dog was greedy. This is a question which is going to come for your exam. Was the vet greedy? No, my dear students, the vet was not greedy. Why was he accepting and eating the eggs? Because he wanted to save Tricky. He was doing a logical work, he was not greedy. So in this way, finally the day came when Mrs. Pomfrey came to take Tricky home, and the way Tricky came running, trotting to her, she was very happy and she realized her mistake. She promised the doctor to follow the rules henceforth and took away the dog. So this lesson teaches all of you, my dear students, if ever in your life you dream of having a pet or you have a pet, please see to it that don't overfeed and make your pet obeys. Love your pet, but see to it that your love does not become the cause of the death of your pet. You have to keep your pet surviving. You have to take proper care. You have to maintain the health and not make your pet obese. So that's all I had to say about the lesson. And now I would like to read and explain the lesson to you. Here the author is saying, I was really worried about Tricky this time. Means they met on the road and he saw Tricky, and seeing how obese Tricky had grown, he becomes worried and concerned. I had pulled up my car. Pulled up means stop the car. When I saw him in the street with his mistress, and I was shocked at his appearance. At whose appearance? At Tricky's appearance. He had become hugely fat, like a bloated sausage. Sausage is a dish which is a stuffed one. So he looked like a stuffed toy. With a leg at each corner, means his body was so huge, his legs were hardly visible. His eyes bloodshot and rheumy, they had grown red. Stared straight ahead, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. He was finding so difficult to carry his weight that he had thrown his tongue out. Mrs. Pomfrey hastened to explain, because Mrs. Pomfrey knew, now vet is going to tell me, don't make your dog obese. So first only she starts giving the explanation. He was so listless, Mr. Harriet. He seemed to have no energy. I thought he must be suffering from malnutrition. So I have been giving him some little extras between meals to build him up. Means to give him energy. But as I told you already in the briefing, it was not he didn't have energy. He was lethargic because he was obese. Some malt and cod liver oil and a bowl of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really, nothing more. So look, this is like very little according to Mrs. Pomfrey. So just imagine what she might be giving in reality. And did you cut down on the sweet things as I told you? So Mrs. Pomfrey was giving him sweets also. Sweets and salts are a total no for pets. Oh, I did for a bit, but he seemed to be so weak. I had to relent. Relent from stopping to give sweets. So she has again started giving him sweets. He does love cream cakes and chocolates, so I had to give him. I can't bear to refuse him. I looked down again at the little dog. That was the trouble. He thought, oh God, this is what is going wrong with the dog. He is having cream cakes and chocolates, which are total no-no for dogs. Tricky's only fault was greed. After all, he was a dog. He will always want food. He had never been known to refuse food. He would tackle a meal at any hour of the day or night, and I wondered about all the things Mrs. Pomfrey hadn't mentioned. That means if she said she was giving this much, she was giving much more actually. Are you giving him plenty of exercise? Well, he has little walks with me, as you can see. But Hodgkin, the gardener, has been down with lumbago, so there has been no ring throwing lately. So exercise was less and food was more, as you can see. I tried to sound severe. That means the doctor tried to sound very strict. Now I really mean this. If you don't cut his food right down and give him more exercise, he is going to be really ill. You must harden your heart and keep him on a very strict diet. You have to harden on your heart means you have to be very strict. Mrs. Pomfrey wrung her hands. Oh, I will, Mr. Harriet. I am sure you are right. But it is so difficult, so very difficult. She set off head down. She ran away because she was afraid of the doctor. Along the road, as if determined to put the new regime into practice immediately. I watched their progress with growing concern. Tricky was tottering along in his little tweed coat. He was wearing a tweed coat. A tweed coat is a real expensive coat. He had a whole wardrobe of coats for the cold weather and a raincoat for the wet days. So that was the limit of pampering. He struggled on, drooping in his harness because he did not have energy to carry that huge body of his. I thought it wouldn't be long before I heard from Mrs. Pomfrey. So the vet was sure at this point that a day will come when Mrs. Pomfrey will call up and say that Tricky is ill. The expected call came within a few days. Mrs. Pomfrey was distraught, totally disheartened, broken down. Tricky would eat nothing, refused even his favorite dishes, and besides, he had bouts of vomiting. He spent all his time lying on a rug, panting, breathless, didn't want to go for walks, didn't want to do anything. Why do you think this happened, children? Because Tricky had become over-obese by this time. Not just obese, over-obese. I had made my plans in advance. Doctor knew this would happen, so he had his plans ready. The only way was to get Tricky out of the house for a period. I suggested that he be hospitalized for about a fortnight, that is 2 weeks, 14 days, to be kept under observation. He did not tell really what he was going to do with Tricky because he knew if he would tell, then Mrs. Pomfrey would not send Tricky. The poor lady almost swooned. She was sure he would pine and die if he did not see her every day. But I took a firm line. The doctor was firm on his decision. Tricky was very ill and this was the only way to save him. In fact, I thought it best to take him without any delay, and followed by Mrs. Pomfrey's Wellings, I marched out to the car carrying the little dog wrapped in a blanket. He did not bother. He just got into their house, picked the dog and went away. The entire staff was roused. Means Mrs. Pomfrey called for all the staff, all the maids and servants. And maids rushed in and out bringing his day bed, night bed, favorite cushion, toys, rubber rings, breakfast bowl, lunch bowl, supper bowl. Can you imagine the things that Tricky had? Realizing that my car would never hold all the stuff, I started to drive away. As I moved off, Mrs. Pomfrey, with a despairing cry, threw an armful of the little coats through the window. I looked in the mirror before I turned the corner of the drive. Everybody was in tears. Mrs. Pomfrey and all the servants were in tears. They loved Tricky so much. Out on the road, I glanced down the pathetic little animal gasping on the seat by my side. I patted the head and Tricky made a brave effort to wag his tail, but he couldn't do it. Poor old lad, I said, you haven't a kick in you, but I think I know a cure for you. I can cure you. At the surgery, the household dogs surged around me, came around me. Means all the dogs came around the vet because they saw a new friend come in. Tricky looked down at the noisy pack with dull eyes and when put down lay motionless on the carpet. The other dogs, after sniffing round him for a few seconds, decided he was an uninteresting object and ignored him. I made up a bed for him in a warm loose box next to one where the other dogs slept. For 2 days I kept an eye on him, giving him no food but plenty of water. At the end of the second day, he started to show some interest in his surrounding. On the third, he began to whimper. Means, as he was losing weight, he was becoming energetic. When he heard the dogs in the yard, when I opened the door, Tricky trotted out and was immediately engulfed by Joe, the greyhound. Joe was none other than a greyhound, means another dog, and his friends. After rolling him over and thoroughly inspecting him, the dogs moved off down the garden. Tricky followed them, rolling slightly with his surplus fat, additional fat. He had lost some fat but not all the fat till now. Later that day, I was present at feeding time. I watched while Tristan sloped the food into the bowls. There was the usual headlong rush followed by the sounds of high-speed eating. The dogs slap of their food. Every dog knew that if he fell behind the others, he was liable to have some competition for the last part of his meal. Means he would get less meal. They had to fight for their food. When they had finished, Tricky took a walk round the shining balls. That means Tricky did not get any food. Licking casually inside one or two of them. There was no food, but the aroma of the food was lingering on. So Tricky just licked the empty bowls. Next day, an extra bowl was put out for him and I was pleased to see him jostling his way, moving towards it. He had lost some weight, so now he was ready to move around. From then on, his progress was rapid. He had no medicinal treatment of any kind, but all day he ran about with the dogs, joining in their friendly scrimmages. He discovered the joys of being bowled over, tramped on and squashed every few minutes. He didn't mind. He enjoyed playing with the other dogs. He became an accepted member of the gang, an unlikely, silky little object among the shaggy crew, fighting like a tiger for his share at meal times and hunting rats in the old hen house at night. He had never had such a time in his life before. All the while, Mrs. Pomfrey hovered anxiously in the background, calling up and asking, "How's Tricky? How's Tricky?" Ringing a dozen times a day for the latest bulletins. I dodged the questions, means he would skip the questions. Dodge means skip. About whether his cushions were being turned regularly or his correct coat worn according to the weather. But I was able to tell her that the little fellow was out of danger and convulsing. Convulsing means improving health rapidly. The word convulsing seemed to do something to Mrs. Pomfrey, so she thought that convulsing means becoming weak. She started to bring round fresh eggs, 2 dozen at a time, to build up Tricky's health. For a happy period, my partners and I had 2 eggs for breakfast, but when the bottles of wine began to arrive, the real possibilities of the situation began to draw on the household. So now he realized Tricky has the wine also at home. It was to enrich Tricky's blood. Lunch became a ceremonial occasion with 2 glasses of wine. For whom? For the vet and his partners. And with 2 glasses of wine before and several during the meal. We could hardly believe it when the brandy came to put a final edge on Tricky's constitution. For a few nights, the fine spirit was rolled around, inhaled and reverently drunk. The vet and his partners enjoyed. Coming back to this part of the story, as I told you before, if they were doing this, not because they were greedy, but they wanted to really save Tricky, so they were doing this. They were days of deep content, starting well with extra egg in the morning, improved and sustained by the midday wine, and finishing luxuriously round the fire with the brandy. It was a temptation to keep Tricky on as a permanent guest, but I knew, means they wished, oh, if Tricky would be there with us forever, we could enjoy. This is just for fun. It was a temptation to keep Tricky on as a permanent guest, but I knew Mrs. Pomfrey was suffering, and after a fortnight felt compelled to phone and tell her that the little dog had recovered and was awaiting collection. Awaiting collection means Mrs. Pomfrey could collect the dog and take him home. Within minutes, about 30 feet of gleaming black metal, means a huge car, drew up outside the surgery. The chauffeur opened the door, means the driver of the car, opened the door, and I could just make out the figure of Mrs. Pomfrey almost lost in the interior. Means she flew into the surgery. She was so excited to meet Tricky. Her hands were tightly clasped in front of her lips trembled. Oh, Mr. Harriet, do tell me the truth. Is he really better? Yes, he is fine. There's no need for you to get out of the car. I will go and fetch him. I walked through the house into the garden. A mass of dogs was hurtling round and round the lawn, and in their midst, ears flapping, tail waving, that shows how healthy he had become, was the little golden figure of Tricky. In 2 weeks, he had been transformed into a little hard-muscled animal. He was keeping up well with the pack, stretching out in great bounds, his chest almost brushing the ground. So he could run that fast now. I carried him back along the passage to the front of the house. The chauffeur was still holding the car door open, and when Tricky saw his mistress, he took off from my arms in a tremendous leap. That means Tricky was also very happy, because after all, Mrs. Pomfrey did love her dog a lot. So he was very happy to meet Mrs. Pomfrey in a tremendous leap and sailed into Mrs. Pomfrey's lap. She gave a startled "oh" and then had to defend herself as he swam over her. She was not habituated to this because of being obese. Tricky was never so energetic. She was shocked the way Tricky jumped over her, licking her face and barking. During the excitement, I helped the chauffeur to bring out the beds, toys, cushions, coats, bowls, and none of which had been used. Because a dog is not a human. They don't need all these things. As the car moved away, Mrs. Pomfrey leaned out of the window. Tears shone in her eyes, her lips trembled. "Oh, Mr. Harriet," she cried, "how can I ever thank you? This is a triumph of surgery." Means whatever. See, surgery or operation always does not mean you have to take a scissor, cut and do an operation and stitch. No, it's not like that. Any operation which is done to improve something is known as a surgery. So she tells this is a triumph of surgery. Means whatever operation you have done has become successful and my tricky is keeping well. With that, we end with this chapter. Thank you, students. I hope you have understood the chapter well. Otherwise, I am always there to clear your doubts. Thank you once again.